New bag day. Howdy friends, it's new bag day. This is the Outbound Travel Pack from Rework Gear. As of today, right now, it is available for pre-order at a discounted price for a limited time. Now, all the pre-order information you're gonna need is gonna be down in the description below, as well as an affiliate link if you choose to support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but I do appreciate it. Now, you can go to the website and read all the marketing material and look at all the pictures, but what you really need to know about this backpack and why I think it's the backpack you need, it's only gonna come from firsthand experience. And that's where I got you. I've got plenty of hands-on experience with this backpack. Now we're still gonna do a full walkthrough. I'm gonna show you all this bag's features, but more importantly, I'm gonna tell you what it's been like using this bag and why I think this is the travel pack you actually need. Towards the back end of the video, we're gonna do a full loadout to show you exactly what this pack can hold. And you're gonna wanna stick around for that because I've got some new gear that I'm anxious to show you. And if you hate me, there's chapter markers down below as usual if you wanna skip ahead. But let's start unpacking all of the details of the Outbound Travel Pack from Rework. So the Bay Area brother-sister team that are Rework Gear are introducing this new Outbound series. Now it's separate from the Toshi line. I don't know exactly where they're gonna take this Outbound series, but based off of this first product here, a travel pack, I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be their travel line. So it's not officially part of the Toshi line, but it definitely inherited some of the Toshi features as far as function and aesthetic. When I first saw this pack, it reminded me of this, the Alpaca Elements travel backpack. Very similar looking, and that's not a bad thing because I actually quite like the way this pack looks. On the outside aesthetic, you know, like I said, it does resemble the Toshi pack in a larger form. It has that giant brain pocket up here that has a lot of volume, and those darts give it that signature look, and of course the rain flap that's carried over from the Toshi sling. So there's some continuity in the overall aesthetic design. But as we start to deep dive this pack, the differences between the Toshi pack and the Outbound Travel Pack are going to become more evident. Now regarding this pack's layout, in 2026, I would say it has a pretty standard travel backpack, EDC backpack layout. We're gonna have a full clamshell opening into the main compartment. It's gonna give you full access, which is essential, I would say, in a travel pack. And we have a giant bucket for loading. Now, one thing that's gonna stand out to you that there is no stretch pocket on the back. Very clean and simplified design overall on the internal here. Now for the internal lining, they're using a 150D PU coated ripstop lining, which is an interesting decision because it's a lighter denier than what's being used on the Toshi series. So it's a little lightweight. It does feel a little plasticky, but you're not dealing with the liner in a lot of places. Even the sides of the pack aren't fully lined. It's a really simple, straightforward bucket design. This is where you're gonna find the only branding on this pack, the Rework patch here, and then the Outbound logo there. And on the opposite side of the bucket, on the beaver flap, you have two zipper pockets here. They are the stretch kind, so you can fit bulky things in here. No internal organization in there, but you do have two zipper pockets. There are signs all over this pack that lead me to believe that they made a conscious decision to cut weight. So the fact that the bucket is not fully lined, they went to a lighter denier here. And another thing to point out is that there is no padding pretty much anywhere on this backpack besides the back panel. So this front beaver flap here, I mean, you could crumble this whole thing up into your palm of your hand. So this bag has no structure, it has no frame sheets, it has no padding anywhere. So again, I'm picking up cues from wanting to save weight, and I'm also picking up cues from the backpacking, the through hiking community throughout this bag, and we'll get into more of that detail why I think that is. But just looking at the simplicity of the main bucket leads me to believe that there was a conscious decision here on weight savings. Now on the bottom of this bag, you can see this is where the backpack ends, the bottom of the pack, and then this is your laptop compartment. So you can see, so it does have a dedicated laptop compartment, but you can see how far it's suspended off, almost 2 whole inches off the bottom of the pack almost. So because this pack doesn't have that extra foam, padding, frame sheets, all the things you would need to give this bag some structural support, it's gonna have 2 key advantages for that. One, obviously you're gonna save weight. You've eliminated all of that foam and frame sheets to give it that structure. And the second feature, and what I believe is Rework's secret sauce here, is that it makes every single pocket on this pack feel like it has usable volume. So the listed weight for this pack is 2.5 pounds, and when I weighed it on my own personal scale, it came in at 2.4, so pretty spot on. This is an extremely lightweight pack for being 30 liters. And when it comes to this bag's listed capacity of 30 liters, I found that to be pretty spot on, maybe even a little more generous than 30 liters. So I daily carry a 26 liter bag that I max out comfortably. When I transitioned everything from that 26 liter bag into this bag, I definitely had more room, I felt more space, it didn't feel packed out at all. So that's why I'm guessing that this is probably definitely 30 liters at a minimum, maybe closer to like 32. So you have two external pockets on the front of the pack, and while the Toshi pack had that ambidextrous pocket where you can get into it from the left or from the right, here it's going to be a traditional top-down pocket on this pack here. Now this is where it gets really interesting. This is the first time in a very long time I felt that this front pocket had actual usable space. So there is going to be no more additional organization in this front pocket, but you do have a spot for the key leash. Now this is where I chose to put mine. Just like the Toshi series where you can relocate the key leash or just remove it, it's the same here. You have an anchor point for your key leash on the right side, the left side of this pocket. You're also going to have one on the inside of the admin compartment up here at the top for your key leash, and also in the top quick access pocket you will have another attachment point in that pocket as well. Now looking at the admin pocket here, it is going to be a top-down pocket as well, but because we have no padding, this pocket can float all the way over so you can get full access to the front. You know, if you watch my Air Travel Pack video, it has so much padding in here that you can't, it's kind of hard to fold this pocket over, and it makes it just a straight top down. So I like the lack of structure here because I can get full access into the admin compartment. We have a traditional 50-50 pocket split with some stretch mesh and one additional zippered pocket along the back. So I've been referring to this admin section here as the brain pocket because it has so much usable volume. I mean, it can swallow pretty much anything you want to throw at it, over the ear headphones, you name it. Even if your main compartment gets completely packed out and you need room for your whole entire toiletry kit, this is my Gravel Slim. This pocket can easily house that entire toiletry kit in that front pocket. Now continuing along with the different pockets, up top we have that quick access pocket. It is going to be pretty shallow, so it's going to be best left for your smaller, flatter items. You can definitely get your cell phone and a pair of sunglasses in there, but it's not going to be super deep like some other backpacks. And at the back you have your dedicated laptop compartment. It does have two equally sized sleeves here, just like the Toshi pack, so you can carry a laptop or a tablet or two laptops if you choose. They're both suspended, and you do have the padded divider in between the two. Now I can say with full confidence that you can fit your 17-inch device. I have a 3D printed Dell XP 17-inch laptop, and it slides and fits in there with ease with room to spare. Now on the opposite side of this pack, you have additional storage area here up at the top. There's no zipper, it's more like an envelope made of stretch mesh, but in here you can house your chargers, your mouse, your cables for your tech. And at the very top of the pack you have the AirTag smart tracker pocket for your pack. Now there are quite a bit of exterior features on this pack. It does have two external water bottle pockets, one on each side. They are that elastic band type, so it keeps the pocket flush to the pack when you're not using it, but it gives us a little bit of room to expand when you do have the bag fully packed out. There's going to be some external anchor points all over this bag. You have two at the top here, you have two at the bottom here, you have one on each side of the pack. You've got them on the shoulder straps, so if you want to clip anything to anywhere to this pack, there's going to be plenty of options. If you already own something in the Toshi line, all the materials being used here on the Outbound Travel Pack are going to feel very familiar to you, as they're all the same. The main outer fabric here is an 840D nylon with YKK zippers throughout. Now it does have a DWR coating on, I think, the outer material and also the zipper, so it's going to give you some added weather protection. Maybe not as good as your AquaGuard or PU coated zippers, but it does provide better protection than your normal zippers. For that 840D material, it is going to be pretty resistant to dust and pet hair. It's going to pick up some scuffs every now and then, and some things may stick to it, but I found that with a damp cloth, you should be able to clean anything off of this pack. Now I've had this pack for about like 7 weeks or so, and I've had to clean it off a few times. But like I mentioned, that anything that gets on it is usually cleanable with just a damp cloth. All the zippers on this pack are lockable, with the exception of the top quick access pocket. Now your main compartment is going to have that traditional 2 zipper heads that come together where you can run a lock through. All the rest have the security loop at the end of the zipper track. Now you can run your zipper puller through that security loop just to make it a little bit more resistance, or you can actually just clip a lock to the zipper head and that security loop and lock it down all together. So a little bit of flexibility. I like the security loop option of locking your zippers because if you don't bring a lock, you can at least run your zipper pull through there to make it a little bit more resistant to opening. So that's a nice little security touch here on this pack. So now we're going to talk about the back panel, harness system, and this bag's overall comfort. And in my opinion, this is where your money is being spent. This is the #1 reason to get this travel pack here. I mentioned on my last video that I believe the shoulder straps are both an art and a science. Some companies go with thin straps and make them wider. Some companies go with narrow straps and make them thicker. What I believe Rework has done here is striking the perfect balance of both that thickness and width of the shoulder straps and the back panel. So comfort is going to vary from person to person based on your body type and size, but for me, this harness system and back panel were a perfect 10 out of 10. And that's huge for me because backpacks, travel backpacks in particular, are going to be a little bit more heavier. You're going to be carrying them for longer periods of time, typically through busy airports and train stations, all that good stuff. Comfort has to be there for a travel backpack, and Rework nailed it here. I believe Rework was able to achieve this level of comfort for two main reasons. Like I mentioned, striking the perfect balance of both the width and thickness of the padding on the shoulder straps and back panel, but also this is a wired frame backpack. Again, it's almost like they're taking cues from the hiking backpacking community, the thru hikers, and using a wired frame here. It's going to provide you structure to the back panel without adding a lot of additional weight like a giant frame sheet. And also is tied into the load lifters at the top here. So when you engage the load lifters, like how I have them here, it's actually pulling that load. It's actually lifting the load and shifting it to the upper portion of the back. And I think that's pretty tremendous when you're carrying a heavy pack, and that's why they use them on the trail for through hiking. Now it may not be super noticeable here because the wire frame is on the inside of the pack, but it does have a slight curvature to it as well to help it adapt to the natural curve of your spine. Now with all of these features combined in conjunction with one another led to what is, I believe, one of the most comfortable harnesses I've ever used in a travel pack. So taking a look at the back side of this pack, you do have the removable and adjustable sternum strap, you have the vertical luggage pass-through, and you have two side carry grab handles, as well as the carry grab handle up top. Now the thing about these two side handles, you can actually run them through your luggage as a horizontal luggage pass-through. So you have the vertical luggage pass-through here, and then you have the horizontal pass-through there with the handles. Now I will say, if you want to use the side grab handles as a horizontal luggage pass-through, it's going to be very dependent on your luggage. Now I tested it out on some of the ones I have at home. It worked on some and it did not work on others, like my July carry-on, because the handle was simply too thick. But again, you still have the vertical luggage pass through as well. And it also has its own dedicated hanging loop if you want to hang this on the back of the door, on a hook, a hero clip, anything like that. I do like this because if you hang bags, for an extended period of time by their top carry grab handle, you end up deforming the foam and all that stuff. So this is a feature I like to see on more packs, and I'm glad we have it here. Now all of the webbing being used on the pack is that nicer, softer twill material that you'll find similar to a seatbelt of a car, and there's strap keepers everywhere to keep your load lifter, sternum strap, backpack, everything is going to be well kept with the strap keepers. And there is a lot of adjustment on this straps. I know there were some comments made about the shoulder straps being too short on the Toshi pack, and they ended up making them longer on the second run. So you're not going to have that problem on the Outbound Travel Pack. I'm 5'10" with a 21-inch torso, and look at the amount of dangle that I still had left over. So easily managed with the strap keeper, but if you're somebody taller and you're worried about the length of the straps, I definitely think they've got you covered. Now time for some pros and some cons and some things I liked and didn't like about the Outbound Travel Pack. The #1 pro for me and the #1 reason to buy this pack is the fact that the harness is a 10 out of 10. This thing is a comfort beast. Now I think that that's very important in a travel pack because, like I mentioned earlier, it's typically carried heavier, it typically carries longer. So comfort for me, especially in a travel pack, is at the top of my wish list. And I think the Rework here took a lot of cues from the backpacking and through hiking community and implemented it here by going with an extremely lightweight pack and that wired frame design. So whatever they chose to do with their design, I don't know, but what I do know is this pack carries extremely well. Another thing I really appreciated about this bag is the fact that it's not bloated with foam, frame sheets, and a lot of structure. Because of that, it is lighter weight, very malleable, and it can easily adapt to anything that you're carrying. It makes all of the pockets here have actual usable space because they're not pumped full of foam to give it structure. Now I can easily see where that could be a downside for some of you, especially if you're carrying more expensive cameras and camera lenses. There is no additional padding anywhere, not even on the bottom, that's going to protect that gear. So you would definitely have to opt for like a camera cube. But as far as the travel pack goes, maximizing the amount of space that you can get out of this pack, I think is paramount. But also carrying it in a footprint that's still relatively small. Now, while this pack is not personal item size, you can definitely still get it underneath the seat in front of you if you're flying domestic in the United States. The entire time I was using this pack, it just felt wild at how much things I could fit in there while it still maintained a relatively small footprint for being a 30-liter pack. I was just amazed about how much I could actually carry while the bag's still feeling like it was undersized. And lastly, I just really appreciated the overall aesthetic of this bag. For being 30 liters, it just seemed really streamlined, really sleek, really minimal, no outside branding. And yes, if it's underpacked, it could probably look a little frumpy. And I know people are really bored with black bags, but when you're traveling, you really want to fly under the radar. You don't want to bring a lot of attention to yourself. So a clean, sleek black bag is never going to go out of style. And I do like the way this one looks. So I did have a few issues with this pack, and most of them are honestly just small nitpicks, but because of this bag being priced at $209, I do think that's at premium range, and there's some area of the bag where I wish were executed a little bit better for a bag in this price range. For an example is the sternum strap. It is very thin webbing, very small webbing. The buckle feels really cheap. When you're using it out in the world, sometimes connecting it was very finicky. I did struggle to connect this buckle. And the fact that the webbing is extremely thin and you can connect this buckle front ways or back ways, I found a lot of times that the sternum strap will get twisted and I would have to undo it and then refight the buckle again. I just wish there were a beefier sternum strap here to help you support the weight a little bit better, and a better buckle here, because I just felt this one was very finicky and it just felt really cheap and difficult to use. Another area that I wish was cleaned up a little bit better is like this luggage pass-through, how the strap is just flappy and dangly. Most backpack makers put a little piece of Velcro here to keep this nice and flush. Again, this could all be done for weight savings, I don't know. You know, Rework does a really good job of doing design explanation videos on their YouTube channel, so I'm going to link their channel down below. I'm sure they're going to do one on the Outbound Travel Pack here too. But just little simple refinement issues like this, you know, you're wearing the pack most of the time, so it's not going to be an issue, but I know it's there. A little piece of Velcro would have helped secure it a little bit better. And then going back to the more refinement on the main compartment of this pack, it's not fully lined, so you have these black inside here. Again, at a pack in this price point, I think we should have had a fully lined bag on the inside. It helps, gives you some contrast instead of this black sidewalls. Again, this may have all been done for weight savings. I don't know, I'm not the designer, but I think a $200 bag should have been fully lined in my opinion. And while I like the stripped downness of this pack of having no additional frame sheets and foam and all the stuff that adds bloat to the bag, I would have liked a padded bottom personally, because it just helps protect your gear a little bit better. But also, when I was carrying the pack, I noticed that because of the bottom not being completely lined, so take for example is when I carried this pack, I carry my bottle on the inside. I just had enough room. But when you put this bottle, or when I had my lunch in here, I use glass containers. And anywhere you go and you put this bag down, you're making direct contact with everything that's in your pack. So that's why I say, if you're gonna carry cameras, definitely use a camera cube, but I would have liked to have at least that bottom padded. It would also help the bag stand up incredibly well on its own. So this bag will stand up on its own depending on how it's packed out. It even has a little lean like the Toshi pack, but it never really face planted for me. But if it had that fully padded bottom, it would have given that bottom a little bit more structure and a little bit more protection to your gear. So every time you put the pack down, you wouldn't get direct banging onto your gear. So some final thoughts on the Outbound Travel Pack 30 liter from Rework Gear. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, this is the travel pack you need. It is extremely comfortable. All the pockets have usable volume, so you can fit all of your gear in here comfortably while not feeling like you're carrying a refrigerator on your back. I think that Rework's execution of a travel bag is excellent. Yes, there are some refinement issues like I pointed out with the, the dangly, the thin sternum strap and just the inside of the pack not feeling super premium for a bag in this price range. But overall, those are all just minor to the bag's overall function. And function is where I think Rework's secret sauce is in. Now, people make comments about the materials or the aesthetics of the toshi sling, or, just make their online comments. But you talk to anybody who's actually used the sling, nobody's going to argue the functionality of Rework gear, and they nailed it again here in this travel pack. Now, I don't know exactly what's next for the Outbound series, but I'm super excited the direction they're going for this. What I assume is going to be their travel line. Because I test so many different bags for YouTube, I simply just can't keep all of them. Well, not if I want to stay married. But this one is moving into my permanent collection. So now, in my personal opinion, if you were to pair this Outbound travel pack with like any one of the toshi slings, this is a crazy killer 1.5 bag travel setup. And this is something that I've been using, this sling and this backpack here. I mean, God, right now, I can't think of a better travel duo than these two items right here. So now I want to know, what do you think of the Outbound travel pack from Rework Gear, their first travel bag? I felt the execution was excellent, but I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments. And of course, if you have any more questions about the travel pack, definitely let me know in the comments down below. The goal of this channel is to always help you find the right gear for you. All right, before we load this bag out, I want to take a quick beat and talk about these packing cubes that I'm testing out. I'm going to do a full review on them a little bit later on down the line once I get some more testing done, but I'm just super excited and I want to talk about them now. These are from Westbreeze. Now, they are a compression packing cube like you would see from many other brands, but the secret sauce to these is it's not just a packing cube, it's like a hanging closet. So you have all your clothes in there, you have additional pockets at the top, you can hang this anywhere. It has a G-hook, it has a strap, it's a swivel, and you have all your clothes access there where you can still unzip and get full access to all your clothes. But the cool thing about it is, like, that's the getaway, that's the large packing cube, and then I have my clothes here. This is 5 days socks and underwears in the medium, and I have 2 pants, a short, and 4 shirts loaded up here in this larger packing cube here. And then I can easily connect my smaller packing cube to the larger one, and then I have my full setup. Now, some of the other bag reviewers making fun of me because I have a rational fear of bed bugs, but with this hanging closet, none of your stuff has to go into weird drawers or other people's, staying at Airbnbs. Hang this up in the closet, hang this up in the shower, in the restroom, and then you can have full access to your wardrobe in this closet-like manner. And it, like I said, it spins. It comes with like a dirty laundry bag. These cubes are awesome. Full review coming, but there's a link in the description. I like them so much that I recommend you just go straight to the link and check it out. Westbreeze packing cubes. So I have everything that I would take for a 5-day trip loaded up into my large and medium packing cubes from Westbreeze. I got 5 socks and underwears here, 2 pairs of pants, pair of shorts, and 4 shirts loaded up in here. And they fit into this 30-liter travel Outbound just perfectly, almost like they were meant for this bag. I gotta line up the logos. I'm not a savage, keep everything nice and uniform. Now, they're made of this beautiful 200D ripstop Robic nylon, awesome packing cubes, but look how beautiful that is in the pack. It just fits so nice. So I still have room down in here for my Gravel Slim toiletry kit, as well as my travel extension cord, because sometimes when you stay at Airbnbs or hotels, there's just not enough plugs. This is where this comes in hand, and it's an extension cord. So you can, if the plug's on the other side of the wall, you can still get something closer to where you want it. So I've done a video on this as well. All this stuff is linked in the description if you want to check it out. But toiletry kit, travel extension cord in there as well. I have my travel setup pretty dialed in. I typically don't use these 2 pockets. Sometimes I use the top one maybe for extra cords and stuff, but this pack has plenty of organization where I actually don't need these. Additionally, if you were to stuff more gear into here, it would also push out to the outside, so it would take away some of the volume from the outside. So in my travel scenario, I would rather have the volume on the outside than to take it up here on the inside. So that's all I'm putting in the main compartment. Buttery smooth zippers to get that zippered up. And we'll go into the admin section here. Because this admin section here is also lockable, I felt really safe keeping my passport, wallet, all those valuable things in this pocket here because it's a zipper pocket within a zippered pocket that can also be locked. It feels pretty secure in my opinion. So I have my Black Ember MagFold travel wallet. You got your cards, you got your passport, ID. Fits easily in the back of that pocket there. Here's where I chose to put my med kit. Talked about this a million times on the channel. I just have some Imodium, Band-Aids, Neosporin, Tums, some Advil, things you might need while you're traveling and easily at your disposal so you don't have to hit the pharmacy, you got it on you. And for this pocket on this side, I have my Woobin X4 travel light. Always travel with some sort of flashlight. Just found it so handy when you're out and about traveling. And then this is where I put my Iniu P50 power bank. Great little power bank, about the size of a pager. I like to keep my power bank separate from the rest of my tech because I typically access this a lot more than on my general tech, but it fits great down in there next to my flashlight. Like I've said 1,000 times in this review, I'm just so impressed with the amount of usable space in these pockets. Even with this loaded up, main compartment loaded up, I still have plenty of room in here where I can stick a pair of Apple AirPods Max. You know, the ones that don't fold over, the whole entire over-the-ear headphones would still fit in there in your admin compartment for quick access. Now this bottom pocket was just so nice. It was so good to actually have a pocket that you can use. Most bags, this is one of the most restrictive pockets on bags. So we'll move the key leash out of the way. So this is where I kept my tech. I have my EVERGOODS Cap 1. In here I got my Magic Mouse, my charging brick, my charging cable. Then I've got my Anker 3-in-1 on this side for charging all my Apple Watch, phone, and AirPods if you take AirPods, and then the brick, you know, just a really good way to organize all your tech that you don't need on the go. Stuff that I do need on the go is up here in the admin compartment, but this is a fully loaded Cap 1, and it fits easily into the bottom of this pack here. You can even turn it sideways so you have more room up here. And this is where I put my key leash. It's just such a good bag, and pockets are just felt so roomy. Now moving over to the back laptop and tech compartment. Like I demonstrated for you earlier, my 3D printed 17-inch chunky boy of a laptop fit in here with no problem. And you do have the option to carry 2 devices because you have 2 equally sized sleeves. Now you do have more room up here like I shown you earlier. I don't really choose to put anything in here, but this is where your smart tracker pocket is, way at the top up here. And then that's where I will put my little AirTag down in there. It is very tight, so it's not going to come out. And then that flap flops over there, so it's nice in there. It's pretty secure and well hidden in my opinion. So the top quick access pocket is a little shallow, especially when this bag's packed out. So it's going to be best for smaller, flatter items, but you can still get an entire pair of sunglasses in there. These are some cheap sunglasses in a case. They still fit in there as well. And all of my smaller bits like chapstick, eye drops will all fit in there as well, even a snack or some gum if you wanted to add some things. Now this bag is fully packed out with tech, clothes, everything I need for 5 days. And I have a 26-ounce Yeti Rambler, and it still fits in there. It's a little snug, but it fits down in there. The bottle feels pretty secure. I didn't have to fight it that bad, to be honest with you. So the water bottle pockets are pretty good on this bag. And then on the opposite side, because you have 2, you could carry a tripod, you could carry an umbrella, you could use it as a quick access pocket. I mean, I know some people are like, why do you need 2 water bottle pockets when you travel? It's just versatility on the things that you can carry. If you made it this far into this video, thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I want to say thank you to Rework for sending out the Outbound Travel Pack for me to test and review. I love it. It's moving into my personal collection, and I'm looking forward to getting much more use out of this pack here. But if for some odd reason you're not convinced that this is the pack for you, good thing is I've reviewed a ton of different travel backpacks, and you can find that entire playlist right here. So thank you again for supporting today's video, and I hope to see you on my next one.